Aussie. 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 Angry. Aussie. Angry.
All right, live on Thursday night. Notoriously a quiet night, but we shall see. Anything could happen. And I am preparing for anyone who watches this later. Dutton going yeah, I tend to agree with you, Justin. That is a weird election losing thing. But there is also this insane right wing thing in country areas against renewables. There's this fiction that wind turbines and solar panels are somehow terrible and awful and ruining the world and are dangerous. Like I saw an article that did my head in. All these country fire authority brigades, volunteer brigades, saying they would refuse to fight a fire that was on a property that had renewable energy infrastructure on it. I think it's like wind turbines or the power lines for them. They've come up with this concept that it's dangerous. I'd love to know the reasoning behind it. I don't think there is any. And literally this blackmail thing, like saying to farmers, if you get this infrastructure on your property, then we won't fight the fire. Came in halfway through talking about your comment. That's really weird because the system told me I was live fully a minute before that. So that's weird. But, you know, I guess life is weird. Anyway, I am going to make my first cocktail. I'm just making short ones tonight. Need to more short. Okay. So, right. Now I'm getting a little confused in my head of what I was doing. So I'm going to get this up. Secrets of Savoy I'm going to make. So just mezcal, Amaro. I'm going to use Amaro Montenegro. Oh, and maraschino. Using maraschino for a couple of things. In the cupboard I go. And this around a bit. Oh, I hate Musical Aviator and Hannah. Hello. And Lukey. Hello. All right. Mezcal. Bereton de la Muerte. I could get somebody one time and challenge them to eat the worms in this. Those worms are old. Okay, so. And putting this on clear ice. Still a bit frosty. So, somewhat surprising technique I learned recently that doesn't make the ice crack is to use a blowtorch. Like if you use water, even warm water, the ice can crack. But blast it with actual flame, it's fine. All right. Put that in there. Now my fingies are very cold. All right. Oh, yeah. There is some really hot weather, isn't there? We're getting really cold. Hello, Dr. Abigail. Gosh, the whole gang's here. I'm glad it's not a quiet Thursday. But I'm going to make this comparatively quickly and then sit down and drink it. But I'm probably going to make a second one tonight. We'll see. We'll see where the mood takes me. Right. Got my GoPro happening now. We're going to stir this cocktail. Okay. Right, 60 mils. Oh, that's exactly the wrong one. What am I doing? 60 mils, Mezcal. It's kind of a mutant cousin of a Manhattan. Right. I want this light. I want this light over here. And today, ideally, we are going to remember to turn the camera on properly. It's a thing I did not do the other night. I failed to turn the camera on properly. And in fact, touched the power switch rather than the start recording video button, which is a weird thing to do. Anyway, here we go. Let's go. Montenegro. And maraschino. All right. Right. That's the ingredients. Und so. Now, we put in the ice in there. Fuck, shit, that was almost a disaster. Unnecessarily. All right. But all is well, never fear. God, I almost did it again. Touching the power button instead of the record video button. Get started. The whole table starts to move when I'm stirring with what I think is called sympathetic vibrations. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, that's looking nice. All right. Dots are made. Take a photo. Because that looks pretty sexy, honestly. Looks a bit like a urine sample, if I'm completely honest. But let's take a picture. And let's take a photograph. Let's do it now. All right. And press the point P. Okay, moving things around. We'll do the quick talky bit. It's only a short, so theoretically I can get this done in 2 minutes. See how we go. Come on, camera. There we go. Where are we? Speed rate. Off to the races. That's cool. Secrets of Savoy. G'day, cocktail lovers. This cocktail is kind of a cousin of a Manhattan, but south of the border because it has mezcal. It's called Secrets of Savoy. I'm going to give it a taste. Oh, it's got that great smokiness from the mezcal and some herbal sweetness coming in as well. I'll show you how to make it. In a mixing glass, we put 2 ounces or 60 mils of mezcal, then a bit over 1.5 ounces or around 50 mils of Amaro Montenegro, and then just 1/4 ounce, around 7.5 mils of maraschino liqueur. Add ice to the glass, stir that for 20 to 25 seconds to chill and dilute the drink, and then straining that into a rocks glass over a big chunk of sexy clear ice. For a garnish, I'm just going with a twist of orange peel. Which gives us Secrets of Savoy, a smoky, herbal, sweet treat. You should be, oh, you fucking phone. Which gives us Secrets of Savoy. I heard, now I was going so well, and the fucking phone fucked me up. Which gives us Secrets of Savoy, a smoky, herbal, sweet treat. You should try it. Cheers. Why does that get me every single Thursday night? The fucking text from fucking YouFoods, honestly. Honestly. All right, moving stuff around. And okay, I'm actually going to do this once more. Be a bit more runoff in there. And then put this in this. Use that again a bit later. Okay, we're getting there. I'm getting there. Getting to the point of sitting down. Fallen Dreamer, hello. How you doing? Thanks for the good wishes. My day's good. I hope your day's good. I have a cocktail now, so you know. It's good. And you know what? I'm going to give myself a cherry, even though it wasn't in the official thing. I'm a good boy who deserves a cherry. And that's the other text that always comes in if I mention the YouFoods text. Okay, seriously, the boy, you go over here. And we'll leave that for now. Oh, and also, Fallen Dreams, you're being very friendly, so I feel like you've been in here before, so apologies if I'm not remembering you. But if you've never been in here before, as I always tell people, I use a service called StreamYard to restream to multiple platforms. Most people watch me on YouTube. Some people watch me on Twitch. Occasionally, some people even watch me on Facebook. Oh, God damn it. There we go. Yeah, okay, yeah, it was last night. Okay, cool. Tuesday night. Oh, man, that's only half a cherry. Come on, God damn it. Yeah, I'm going to have one. I'm not going to have half a cherry. I'm going to have 1.5 cherries. Okay, put that in there. There we go. Oh, there you go. You watch me on. I think maybe last time you were watching on YouTube. I'm not sure. Is Dr. Abigail acting innocent? Maybe. The perfect amount of pineapple. Did I miss something? I need to find this out. Okay, got the best pineapple pizza. Pineapple was touching, solid coverage of pineapple. It's near a spicy, gang, for sure. All right. Cheers, y'all. And no, actually, I'm not going to stir that. It's too tight. That's what she said. Sorry. Well, that's really pleasant. Well, it's just a little bit smoky, like barbecue smoke sort of flavor. Like smoky in the way that a good barbecue sauce is smoky. Doesn't taste like barbecue sauce, but there is that real like wood smoke flavor. Except it's not wood smoke, it's agave smoke. Because that's how they make mezcal. They roast the agave plant and then extract the juices and distill that. And that process maintains the smoke through the distillation process. You don't drink anymore, just have booze, wine, and beer. I'm confused. Your booze, wine. I applaud you if you, for whatever reason, if you've chosen to not drink alcohol. I applaud you. It's fucking bad for you. Hey, Safa. Dude, you had beef ravioli and pasta sauce. That's one of my U-Foods meals is beef ravioli with shredded beef and pasta sauce, which is really yummy, which is not what I had. You're booze-free and good for you. I had the second half of the thing I made last night. It's fucking yummy. For something I improvised, it was good. Cooked up some mushroom, onion, sausage, mixed in a couple of different sauces, and then baked it so it was like a casserole. It's fucking yummy. It's really good. Made 2 meals. Celtic vodka is so much bullshit. Again, what's vodka's use in cocktails? It's an alcohol delivery system. You can have a good cocktail that they've chosen to make with vodka because they wanted the flavors of the other elements to come through. Vodka brings nothing but some alcohol. Now, as you say, if you're going to have alcohol, why not have something with a bit of character? I did actually see that story, Guzman and Gomez being launched on the stock market. I, for one, predict it's going to crash and burn. Might take a few years, but I reckon there'll be some weird stock market manipulation and Guzman and Gomez will collapse as a business, even though the stores are financially viable because of weird stock market bullshit. Oh, the head of Signal, the encrypted messaging service. I was reading articles on her today. She must be doing a promotional tour of Australia, telling the government breaking encryption's a bad thing, and it is. It is a terrible, terrible thing. And yes, criminals use encryption. So do non-criminals. And if you break encryption, you just make internet transactions less secure for everyone and more vulnerable to hackers. Saying you want to ban encryption because of criminal activity, well, people use just computers to share child porn. But you're going to ban computers? I mean, the reason they say they want to ban encryption is because if it's actually effective end-to-end encryption, it's extraordinarily difficult for the government to spy on what the people are doing. But use other methods of law enforcement. I don't know. I know. It is a shit argument saying because criminals do X, make X illegal. Criminals are people. They do fucking everything. It's so selective that a surveillance state wants to fucking stop encryption because it makes it harder for them to do surveillance. And they do the hot button one. Ooh, they do kiddie porn. And yeah, they fucking do. And they're all scum and they deserve horrible punishment. Destroying encryption is not the appropriate thing to do. Yeah, sorry. I'm just talking in the abstract, Celtic. I don't use encrypted message services because I don't do anything particularly sensitive. So I'm arguing, I guess, in the abstract. So Safa reckons the signal came from Russia. Dr. Abigail thinks it didn't. I didn't think it came from Russia, actually. I'm going to see what the internet says. Based in San Francisco. Originated in California. There you go. It's American. From the creator of WhatsApp. There you go. Justin, you were just saying liberal nuclear policy designed to fail so they can use fail as an excuse to do nothing. Well, I don't even know if it's that well thought through. The Liberals' nuclear policy is deliberately to derail renewables. The Liberals and their crony politics, their cronies can make billions out of the taxpayers constructing ill-advised nuclear reactors. So they may actually intend to do it. But the short-term aim of the Liberals pushing nuclear so hard is to absolutely derail renewables. They're actually explicit and open about it. Hey, Fallen Dreams, your PC business sold some PCs. That's a good day. The Telegram's Russian. There you go. Oh, yeah. I think if I remember rightly, the WhatsApp people, when they were bought out by Facebook, part of it was like they got commitment that Facebook wouldn't fuck with WhatsApp. And Facebook lied and fucked with WhatsApp. And I think more or less in protest, the WhatsApp founder, because the whole deal was like, oh, if you stay at Facebook for this long, you're you get fully vested in these options, which will be worth a huge amount of money. If I remember rightly, and this might not be right, but I seem to remember the WhatsApp people actually quitting before their options vested, just in protest because they were just like, "Fuck you, Facebook." Um, but yeah, the bit that is true is Facebook lied to them. I know that happened. Mark Zuckerberg, sociopathic monster. I haven't seen the meme of Dutton as a Vault-Tec guy from. Oh, you say they need to happen. There were a bunch of them. My particular favorite was the one incorporating the Simpsons three-eyed fish. And there was a three-eyed Blinky Bill, I think. I get what you're saying, Justin, but there is a wise old saying of never ascribe to malice that which is adequately explained by stupidity. And Dutton's nuclear policy is stupid as fuck. Now, if it was, as you say, deliberately stupid and designed to fail, also, I don't understand. Actually, I don't understand the strategy if Dutton truly believes in it. Well, it only makes sense if Dutton is so stupid he thinks it's actually good policy. Yeah, I'm actually having genuine trouble in what room they thought this was a winner electorally. No, Safa. Nuclear power is not left wing at all. It's a fucking stupid idea. He argues, and yes, in terms of carbon emissions, as I understand it, the nuclear reactors are basically zero carbon emissions. But by any rational objective measurement, nuclear is considerably more expensive than renewables and presents a whole raft of problems. I think, actually, Dr. Abigail, I think it is true a nuclear power plant could use the existing energy infrastructure, like to transmit power from where the coal-fired plants sent power, whereas the renewables can't. They have to have different infrastructure. But even with that, nuclear is still seriously more expensive. You want to just, I mean, in a lot of ways, they seem like pretty cool cars. And yes, Justin, conservatively, yeah, the 20 to 30 years is the time period to bring it up to speed, if you can, which probably can't be done here. Too much objection. But the whole thing is very strange. And people, I don't know, people are fucking idiots. Which I don't think is even a controversial. Oh my god! Okay, so I got this fucking weirdo commenting on old COVID videos. So I mean, 3-4 years old. And these fucking weirdos, these are the same weirdos who are still obsessed with Dan Andrews. And okay, here is to me the weirdest thing. These, like the COVID deniers, the anti-vaxxers, the fucking lunatics. And I see this all over the internet. Them saying, see, we were right. And it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? You were so obviously wrong. Like, fucking COVID killed millions of people. The vaccine saved millions of lives. Probably in all realist, if we hadn't have had some sort of effective vaccine, the global death toll, God knows how high it would have been, in the hundreds of millions. And they're still complaining about like the lockdowns and restrictions we had here, but you can bring forth pretty compelling evidence that the restrictions and lockdowns saved tens of thousands of lives in Australia, up to 100,000, simply because you can compare Australia to places that didn't put the same sort of restrictions, like Florida in the US, which has a smaller population and had 80 to 90,000 reported COVID deaths when we had 2,000. And it's just like, we have all the unequivocal evidence that the COVID deniers, the anti-vaxxers, were completely wrong. But they are literally on the internet going, see, don't you wish you listened to me now? And I was like, what the fuck what are you talking about? And this is why it's pointless engaging with fringe nut jobs, because they just are not connected to reality. You can't win them over by explaining stuff to them, because they aggressively reject reality. It is absolutely stunning, the scale of their rejection of reality. I find it genuinely difficult to wrap my head around how someone can be like that. It's real weird. It is real friggin' weird. There's things about, honorable men can disagree. But it's like, when someone's argument is a complete rejection of reality, it's not about disagreement anymore. It's about, no, just you go over there. I'm not engaging with you. You're a fucking weirdo. Because they are. They're fucking weirdos. I never asked my parents about voting, although I am pretty sure my mum voted Labor. Oh, no. If someone is spouting unhinged conspiracy shit, to my mind, the only reason you'd expend any energy on them at all is if they were someone who was close to you, that you had some interest in bringing them back from the brink. And then virtually all you can do is say, you know what? When you start to question this, I'm here, and I'm here for you, and I'll listen. Sometimes it can help if someone's not completely over the edge. Just go, what would it take for you to question this? Or what would it take for you to say, okay, that's not true? What sort of evidence? And you say that to the lunatics, and they'll try and throw it back at you like, like an anti-evolutionist, and say, well, what would it take for you to believe in it? What would it take for you to not believe in it? Well, if someone used the scientific method to and had just mountains of good evidence to say everything we thought about evolution is wrong, then listen. Same with climate change. If you want to be the most famous scientist in the world, prove that catastrophic climate change isn't going to happen. Not only, and again, the conspiratorial thinking of it's a huge cover-up. No, you would be the most famous scientist in the world if you could prove that. I don't believe that's going to happen, because I believe the evidence is overwhelming. But so someone says to me, well, what would it take for you to not believe in the climate myth? Well, it would literally just say, if someone could establish evidence that could be reviewed and validated, then it's like, that's what it is. It's about the evidence. and about independent validation of that evidence. But you'll find with conspiratorial thinkers, they'll just say nothing will change their mind. Oh, Safa, by the way, the preferred prime minister thing is utterly meaningless. It has never, ever, ever, ever been a good indicator of electoral results. It's absolutely meaningless. Fallen Dreams, you had your vaccines. Oh, I had the shivers once, and yeah, I actually had a booster a month or two ago. No effect. I had my flu vaccine and COVID booster on the same day. No effects. One of them definitely I had shivers when I was in bed. And yeah, okay, this is the thing. We do know for a fact a small percentage of people had an adverse reaction to some of the vaccines. That's a fact. And we do know for a fact an extremely tiny percentage of people did actually die as the result of complications from the vaccine. That's real. That happened. But it's a tiny percentage. We also have pretty much unequivocal evidence that the vaccines saved millions of lives. In fact, and I'm going back to it, if we'd never had a COVID vaccine, probably hundreds of millions of more people would have died. So what are you going to do? You know, aspirin kills people. Peanuts kill people. I mean, it's a whole thing. I don't think Sky News has any effect on people's voting because they have such a tiny viewership. It's just other media report on what Sky News says. So what's that, Celtic? Your friend, a flat earther Christian, proved the earth is spherical and evolution is real without using evidence. That is an interesting statement. Wowzers. Well, I mean, I can prove it because there is a wise old gnome who's actually 3 million years old who lives at the bottom of my garden. And he, with gnome magic, proved the earth is real. And he personally witnessed evolution because he's 3 million years old. So there you go. I have proved the earth is a sphere. Well, it's not a sphere. The earth is round. And evolution's real with no evidence. Just the magic garden gnome. Done. Oh, God. Sky News After Dark. I love that sounds like a sleazy sex show, actually. Sky News After Dark, where we get dirty. All right. I'm going to make a second cocktail video. Another short one. I think there's some very old German folk tales about gnomes. Are gnomes from Germany? I don't know. But anyway, yeah, see, Celtic, I'm arguing on that guy's level if I say a magic garden gnome told me it was true. So honestly, I think he has to accept it. Okay. Different one. I'm going to make a cherry daiquiri. I want my phone. What did I say? The components of this and we want that. Oh no, that's there. This isn't. I don't believe it anymore. Okay. I want cherry daiquiri, maraschino, lime juice. That's it, and a couple of drops of saline. Okay. I was going to make it foamy. Do I want to make it foamy? Maybe. Maybe, baby. Yeah, I'm going to make it foamy because I think that would look cool. It's not traditional with a daiquiri, but this is not a traditional daiquiri. So I think I'll get away with it. So if you want it pasteurized, pasteurize it first. I said, Ernie, I'll be happy if it comes up to me chest. Right. That's me doing Benny Hill songs. Because one, okay, this is not a mezcal drink. This is a rum drink. White rum. Yeah. No. Kelly Quiet rum. Oh, just finish. Ooh, I actually almost will finish the Jimmy rum. Okay. I don't believe it. This stuff ready. Get ready, 'cause here it come now. And llama juice. You will make me feel what you do. It's alright. Oh, damn, what's that about? Okay. Let there be light. And there was light. Keen-eyed Christians would know I'm calling myself God when I say that. And it's true. I am your God now. I don't believe it anymore. Okie dokie. Chichuki. Oh. Let's do it. Okay. Wait, did that work? Oh, I'm glad I was paying attention. That didn't work. Okay. I do about 5 mils of maraschino. 15 mils of lemon juice. And cherry. And two drops of Ceylon. I'm a fancy boy. Little things like that. Alrighty, let's. Oh, wait a second. It's kind of melted a bit. Put some more ice in. Put some more ice out. Put some more ice in. And we shake it all about. Alright, let's start this. The most exercise I get. Alrighty. Jerry. Daiquiri. This away. Alrighty. Switching some stuff off. Finish with the GoPro for the evening. Put that away. Take a picture for publicity purposes. Alrighty. And now, the all right, I'll do this quickly, and then it's a dune. All right, let's do that. That's ready. This is ready. G'day, cocktail lovers. This is a daiquiri variation that uses up some of the cherry syrup. It's always left over in your garnish cherries. I'm going to give it a taste. Ooh, that still works even if daiquiri purists object, but here's how I made it. In a shaker, put 2 ounces or 60 mils of light rum, and then about a bar spoon or 5 mils worth of maraschino liqueur, then half an ounce or 15 mils lime juice, and about a third of an ounce or 10 mils of cherry syrup. And then putting 2 drops of saline solution to make the flavors pop. Add ice to the shaker, shake that good and hard for 10 or 15 seconds to chill and dilute the drink. And then I'm straining that into a chilled Nick and Nora glass. It tastes great, looks great, and it uses up leftover cherry syrup. What's not to love with a cherry daiquiri? Cheers. All right, now I'm going to sit down. Get weirdo tiki types who get upset at me for doing this. Get it, just another daiquiri. Suck my balls. Okay, now I'm just going to settle down. All right, done so. Let's see what's happening over here. Okay, what have you been up to when I've been here? I believe if you check, he has not successfully predicted every US presidential election. He's had a good success rate, but he has not been 100% right. Oh, Celtic, there's actually something in the mailbox waiting for me. I haven't gone and got it. Sorry, Anthony, I missed you. I was out making a cocktail on Facebook. Sky News plucks the info out of the clouds. Well, out of their ass, maybe. But I'm going to look this up. Alan Lichtman. Nine out of 10, which honestly, that's pretty good. Picked a 9 out of 10 since Ronald Reagan's re-election in 1984. I was sure I read that it wasn't 100% though, but 9 out of 10 is pretty good. I don't know if 2000 is the one he got wrong. I would agree 2000 was stolen, as would Al Gore. Let me see. But there's no denying he's got a pretty thorough way of doing it. It was the Al Gore one that he didn't pick, which he insists he was correct because an electoral thing. And honestly, I'd side with him on that. It's interesting. He says he thinks Biden has the upper hand. A lot would have to go wrong for Biden to lose. Like, yeah, he could suffer a fucking stroke on camera. Swear to God, he's looking real dodgy. Well, you know, it's interesting. Tell you what. Okay, look, if you're ever in a cocktail bar, okay, admittedly you have to like this drink, but the daiquiri is a classic cocktail. If you're ever in a cocktail bar and you don't know what to get and you don't know if they're any good, ask for a daiquiri. If they fuck that up, they're probably not very good. It's kind of like I always say, like, you know, with a pizza place, ask them to make, you know, plain margarita pizza. If they can't make that taste good, the other ones are probably just hiding that they can't make good cocktails. If people can't do something simple well, I don't trust them on something complex. It's kind of like people who think they're smart. Like, I'm just going to randomly slag Jordan Peterson because he fucking sucks. But people who espouse how smart they are, but they can't explain things simply. Like, whenever Jordan Peterson's lecturing or being interviewed, he just vomits word salad. He just talks shit and he just uses big words, and what he says is indecipherable because I just think he's got nothing to say, really. And it's like, if you can't explain your concept simply, you probably don't even understand what you're saying. It's like people say, "Oh, you're not smart enough to understand me in my big words." It's go, yeah, look, maybe, but you're not smart enough to explain what the fuck you're talking about. So anyway, yes, if you're in a cocktail bar and don't know what to get and you're wondering if they're any good, ask them to make you a daiquiri. Now you have to like sour drinks. It's rum, sugar, and lime juice. That simple. But yeah, that's my hot tip for how to tell if a cocktail bar is any good. See how they make a daiquiri. You could say, I guess you could say the same for an old fashioned or a martini. If people fuck up a martini, I don't trust them. Actually, now I want a daiquiri. I think that's with a very Australian way of saying it. And I was using Australian content in there, so that's a daiquiri. Raise was uh Justin, disagree. Hard disagree. Extremely complex things, you can't necessarily explain the complexities simply, but if you cannot explain the concepts in simple terms, if your only way to talk is to use obfuscatory language, then you don't understand it very well. I mean, someone posted this book on Facebook or something the other day, and it was like a children's picture book. It was like relative physics for babies. It was like a picture book with one sentence on each page using simple language. I mean, the babies and even kids literally wouldn't get it, but it actually explained relative, like, uh, It explained relative physics as and relativity is what I'm talking about. It's Einsteinian physics. It was fucking incredible. It just did it as if it was a kid's book. And it, again, like I said, it's literally one sentence at a time with simple language. But the person who wrote that understood relativity. The people who use obscure and obfuscatory language to gatekeep knowledge are at best assholes and more likely are simply not as smart as they think they are. And they're using big words like me saying obfuscatory. They're using big words to hide their lack of knowledge from people. Okay, so again, Justin, that is absolutely not what I was saying. You're saying you're saying ask people who don't understand it to explain it. What I specifically said is if someone can't explain a concept in simple terms, there's an extremely high chance they simply don't understand it. Like I said, there's somewhere between, you could do in like an XY chart of they're this much of an asshole or they have this much of a lack of understanding of it. And you have a scatter in there. But the motivation for using opaque language, using big words and refusing to stop using big words, there's really only two explanations. You're an asshole. Well, three explanations. You're an asshole. You actually don't understand it very well yourself, or some mix of the two. And I guess also which senator you're talking about, because I am a long way from an expert, but I think Senate voting, there's variations between states and federally. Oh yeah, give it a go. I mean, my flawed understanding of Senate voting is like you need a certain number of votes to get a Senate seat. And so when there's party lines, when there's like multiple people from a party, for argument's sake, let's say you need 5,000 votes to get the Senate seat. And there's a party voting thing, there's 5 people in it, and that party gets 16,000 votes. Like, so the first person gets in with 5,000, then there's 11,000 left. Second person gets in with 5,000. The third person gets in. The fourth doesn't. Now, the second and third people didn't get 5,000 votes. The first person got the overwhelming majority of the votes. But the way it works, when they reach their quota, the rest of the votes pass down to the next person. And then you can do preference swaps. If you don't get in, you can, and again, I think there are significant variations in different jurisdictions, but if you don't get in, you can send all your votes to someone else. And with preference swapping, if someone who got, say, 100 votes gets enough other people who got tiny votes to give their votes to them until their votes are now 5,000, then they get in, which is how we get the Fishers and Shooters party in the Victorian Senate. I say all that with a huge asterisk that I have not studied it, so I may have it wrong. But if I went and looked at what the rules are, I feel confident I could explain it in simple terms. So you need a higher vote average to become member of Senate that's passed down. Yeah. And that's what I was saying, is when the first person has got the quota of votes, all the rest of their votes go to the next person. And all the little independents who don't have enough votes on their own, their votes don't disappear. They can do a preference deal. And so, okay, I didn't get in, but I want my votes to go to this person. And so you end up with an independent who only got a few thousand people voting for them still getting a seat in the Senate because of preference swapping. Yeah, and that was a pretty good, pretty simple explanation. I think there is someone from the Legalized Cannabis Party in the Victorian Senate, actually. I haven't paid that much attention to it, but I think there is. See, Justin, to clarify what I was saying, if someone who proclaims themselves an expert in a field cannot explain their field in simple terms, they're not to be trusted. Actually, you know, another potential explanation for someone not explaining in simple terms is if they could be a particular type of person on the spectrum who doesn't see the point in using any other language, and their mindset might be, well, this is the explanation. If you didn't understand it, that's not my problem. Be a little bit mean to call them an asshole, but their behavior is hard to discern from an asshole. It's good you're still doing this work, running on 4 hours sleep, an 8-hour shift, and had a physical, and you're going to work in 2 hours. God damn. Yeah, caffeine is the only answer. Only legal answer, anyway. Man, I should do daiquiris more often. They're really yummy. That one with a little bit of cherry was pretty good. I was doing all sorts of things for cocktails recently, doing clear ice experiments with a prototype mold Dr. Abigail 3D printed for me. It didn't quite work. It's about 50% effective. Dr. Abigail apparently has plans for a revised design, so that'll be fun. I made new syrup with a native fruit called lily pilly or riberry, which grows in my area, like both in my yard, there's a lily pilly tree, but in the park, there's a fucking huge lily pilly tree. So they're these little red berries, and they got a seed in. You sort of cut them, take the seed out, cover them in sugar. Sugar absorbs the juice from the fruit, and it's a nice purpley red color, the syrup, having absorbed that from the fruit. And it's just got a very light fruity taste. It's not just like an over-the-top fruity flavor. It's kind of like a light pear flavor. It's very yummy. So yeah, I was doing ice experiments, syrup, and I made a clarified cocktail with and using coconut milk as the clarifying agent. Lots of rum. This has traditionally been my favorite clarified drink. Orange juice as the acid element and coconut milk as the milk element. Sort of tastes like creamy orange ice cream, what the Americans would call a creamsicle. Australian taste, it's like a splice, like an orange splice. In this environment, health makes no difference. Oh, sorry, I just saw that. You had a haircut. Now your ears feel cold. I know that feeling. Yeah. But so yeah, this is various alcohols. Orange juice. Look how clear it is. It's the ice is making it deceptively clear. It's actually a little bit yellow. Yeah. Oh yeah, that looks much more yellow. So traditionally looks like a urine sample. But I haven't had a proper taste of this since I made it because I really like it on ice, chilled. Fuck yeah, that is so fucking good. Is it legal to? Of course, you can do your own fucking haircut. Do you know? I don't know if they've changed the rules, but until recently, what wasn't legal was a barber cutting a woman's hair because they're not hairdressers. There's just some stupid because also you don't like hairdressers actually have to do training, like they do an apprenticeship and all this sort of thing. Barbers don't. Isn't that weird? Barbers don't have to have a qualification, and hairdressers do. And as a result, barbers weren't allowed to cut women's hair. And some of my lesbian friends have been very upset about that in the past. They just wanted to go and get a buzz cut, and barbers are going, "I'm not allowed to." Actually, now I'm going to look that up because that definitely used to be the law. Can barbers legally cut women's hair in Australia? Australian barber gets sued for not cutting a girl's hair. Okay, this is a weird one. Brisbane woman denied a haircut at a barber shop because of her gender. He said his hands are tied because of a lease agreement, which prevents his business from competing against women's salons in the same shopping centre. So yeah, apparently this is a different one. The terms of their lease said they could only cut men's hair, but a barber in Sydney had an 8-month legal battle refusing to cut a girl's hair. All right, so this was in 2017. So this guy said he wasn't qualified to cut women's hair and told her to go to a salon, and he was worried that so okay, it's clearly not the law just from looking at this. It's clear, but it was at one point, I'm almost sure. Oh, okay. Here we go. Hairdressing license is not a legal requirement. Okay. That's ignorance on my part. I thought there was a legal requirement to have a hairdressing license, but there isn't. Right. Do I want to know how you found out there was an old law in Victoria? It's illegal for males to wear women's clothing. So there you go. Okay, well, that clears things up. I thought you had to have a license to run a hairdressing salon. You don't. I am sure at one point it was actually illegal, but and maybe this was in New South Wales as well. I'm sure at one point it was illegal for barbers to cut women's hair. Stupid rule, though. I guess I could feel for this guy who thought he wasn't qualified to cut this particular woman's hair, and I mean, you say to someone ahead of time, particularly if it was someone with long hair, and they're coming in and going like, "Oh, I want you to do this," and it's going like, "I don't think I have the skill to do that, and I think I'm going to fuck up your hair. So, you know, I better get you to sign a disclaimer that said I warned you I'd fuck up your hair." Man, okay. So I don't know if Dr. Abigail's still there, but when Dr. Abigail was here on Friday night, I had a different clarified cocktail, which she quite liked, and had 2 serves of it, in fact, and it was good. This one's better. I haven't made this one, the one with the coconut milk, for ages. This is better. Oh my god, that is fucking exceptional. To raise the women's clothes things, long story. Is it? Is it though? Feels like a short story. But anyway. Justin, I agree. It gets ridiculous when laws aren't enforced. And Safa, that's an excellent call. I don't know if the ban on X-rated material was ever lifted in Australia. It just stopped getting enforced like back in the 90s. But there was a really shitty episode, oh no, 10 years ago, maybe longer. This was in Sydney. There was a state election coming up, and the Liberal Premier was trying to act tough on crime and had this spurious claim that the King's Cross sex shops were selling child porn. And so the cops raided the sex shops in King's Cross and arrested the poor bastards who were on the register, who were probably being paid less than minimum wage. Arrested them and confiscated a bunch of stuff. There was no child porn in any of the sex shops, but as a face-saving thing, the people working in the shops were still prosecuted because under New South Wales law, adult X-rated stuff was still illegal. And that was just some absolute fuckery done for political gain. See, that's the sort of story I like, Race. Well, it started 3 days before the cops informed you of it aggressively, and the entire story involved a ton of ecstasy, MDMA, and Special K. Yeah. Okay. You're not sure if it was Special K because it's supposed to be Charlie. Yeah. Well, you end up in what feels like the bottom of a K hole. It's just like, God damn. Oh, shit. Also, that just reminded me of a really funny article from the 90s. And it was in I think I was still in Sydney at the time. So I was in the Daily Telegraph. And it was like being really sensationalistic that club kids were using ketamine more often. And they're just going like, yeah, it has a lot of slang terms like K and vitamin K. And they're coming up with this stupid shit that no one says. And they never once said Special K, which is what everyone called it, because they've just like when they've gone to the editor saying, yeah, everyone calls it Special K. And we go, well, we can't do that. Kellogg's will fucking sue us if we say there's a dangerous drug called Special K. It was, I still remember it because I just found it really funny. Cow tipping doesn't work. I've heard that hotly debated because again, some farm people but again, having grown up in a country town, we always fuck with people and make stuff up. But I don't know, some farm people have said if the cow is fully asleep, like cows sleep standing up, you can tip them. I think you're probably right, though, Razor. It's not real. Just imagine a judge said, because a certain law not being enforced should be considered invalid. Well, and that's the interesting thing, because most of our laws are set by parliaments, but judges can effectively make law by making a finding, and that sets a legal precedent. So judges can effectively make law as well. Did my dad ever read The Australian? I have no fucking idea. He used to listen to the ABC radio. Well, that was the interesting thing, like decriminalizing homosexuality. Tasmania was the last state to take the homosexuality off the criminal statutes. And yeah, you would get protesters because they were in like no rush to take it off the books, who would front up to the police station saying, you need to arrest me because I breached section X of, the legal code. And the cops would go, what? And goes, oh, I fucked this guy last night. And the cops would go, please go away. And but when the move was made to actually take it off, the conservative politicians in Tasmania were gross as fuck. They were awful. They actually wanted to keep it on the books. They fucking sucked. Ray's, I'm going with this is the voice of experience here on cow tipping. Now, Safra, I don't want to say anything too extreme, but I think everything about Singapore is weird. It's a weird fucking place. Just an island that's completely built up. It's Earth's version of Coruscant. Kathy, how are you doing? Speaking of the fine people of Dubbo. I love it that every now and then one of my Dubbo pals just shows up on Facebook, comes in and says hello. And it's Kath tonight. How are you doing? I hope you are well. Justin, no, I've not been there. I would love to go to Singapore because there's some wild shit there. Safa, a peninsula is part of it. That's just a formation on land. Singapore is an island. Does Kathy currently live in Dubbo? I think so. Are you still living in Dubbo, Kathy? All right. We're going to soldier on through work, man. Holy shit. Those people don't deserve you, but just go. Oh, yeah. We are having like the coldest week in friggin' ages. Some of the reports are like for 20 years. And yeah, Dubbo, and Kath will back me up on this. What would really suck in winter in Dubbo? It could easily get sub-zero in winter, but get up into the teens during the day. So when you're a school kid, it's sub-zero overnight, and it's like 2 or 3 degrees when you're leaving home to go to school. So you got 3 or 4 layers because fuck that shit. And you go to school, but then it really warms up during the day. And we didn't really have lockers. So you're like taking layers off, but you've got to carry them around. It sucked so much. It's ridiculous. Yeah, a few country areas were sub-zero. I think the lowest it got, like, in a Melbourne, suburban Melbourne, was like 1 Celsius, but they were doing the feels like 0. Oh yeah, -2 in Dubbo. Yeah, we'd get the thing semi-regularly in winter, like, the pet's water dish. You'd go out in the morning and the pet's water dish was frozen solid. It's like, fuck. Okay, it doesn't beat Bathurst, though, which is actually in the mountain or at the base of the mountains. When I did uni at Bathurst, the record there was -14. And on that particular night, I remember sort of walking up to you and going past someone's yard, and there was a tap in the yard, which was clearly leaking, like clearly dripping. And over the course of the night, the drip had progressively frozen. So there was actually a column of ice going from the tap to the ground over the course of the night. This column of ice had formed. Yeah, freaking Catholic school uniforms. I think the boys probably had a better deal with wearing pants. When did they let the girls wear pants? It's kind of like, and also the worst, like Dubbo was so hot in summer. It was only the year I went into, and Kath and I were in the same year, that when we went into year 7 was the first year they didn't force the boys to wear ties, like button up the top button and wear a tie all through summer. Dubbo summer is like fucking 40 Celsius. So, yeah, they're pretty freaking wacky ideas. And we didn't have like mod cons like heating and air conditioning either. So like cold. Oh God, you're actually going back the date we started high school. Holy shit, 40 more than 40 years ago. Kathy, we're old. Oh God damn. No wait. Oh yeah, when we left. Yeah, no, sorry, that makes sense. That's when we finished year 10. Yeah. Because I did year 12 twice. And my second one, I was class of 1984. So if you got forced to wear a tie in year 9, well, yeah, Jesus, Catholic school we went to, they just made us wear a tie all the time. Yeah, it's not so much a prison because of the no lockers. There were just no facilities. When I went to a state school for year 11 and 12, at least the seniors had lockers, but it was just the space wasn't there. And so it's just like, and it's just the ridiculous fluctuation in temperature. You could easily have a 20-degree fluctuation in temperature on a winter's day in Dubbo. It would get sub-zero overnight and get into the mid-teens or even higher teens in the afternoon. It was ridiculous. It was absolutely ridiculous, the temperature fluctuations in winter. Whereas in Melbourne, if it's cold, it's just cold. Like for a week, we're getting minimums of 2 to 4 Celsius and maximums hovering around 14. That's not that big. Did you go to Dubbo High? I went to South. Okay, here's the thing. Back in the day, Kath and I going to Catholic school, it only went to year 10. So if you wanted to do the HSC, you then had to go to a state school. And there were originally 2 state schools. The central one, which was just called Dubbo High, and one in South Dubbo was called South Dubbo High. And then later there was one in West Dubbo called Delroy. I went to South High. What did it get to? It got to about 2 Celsius last night. So, I mean, pretty goddamn cold, but not sub-zero. It's quite rare for Melbourne to get sub-zero. Out in the outer suburbs, maybe. I had to put the bin out in the morning. It was fucking cold because I forgot to put it out last night. It was bin night. And so as soon as I got up, I put the bin out. I was still wearing my dressing gown because I'm like, fuck it. I don't care what the neighbors think of me. I'm putting the bin out, wearing my dressing gown. Big, fluffy, fuzzy, heavy dressing gown to keep me warm. It's fucking cold. I don't wear PJs to bed. Because you can regulate body temperature better if you're nude. You can put extra blankets on to keep warm, but you can regulate your body temperature better if you're nude. Oh, yeah. Well, I should have gone to Dubbo High because living in North Dubbo. But here's the thing. I wanted to do art and no one else did. Dubbo High literally wasn't offering art for the HSC. So we're going, well, South High is. And we're trying to get in. And the deputy, who was a dick, said they weren't going to let me in because I lived in North Dubbo. And but then my mum got a meeting with the principal and explained, and he just went, "Oh, we'd be happy to have him." Deputy principals are dicks. Also, good memory that you remember I came from the north. No, we don't have a purple bin yet. It was a wheelie bin. It was recycling, a yellow bin tonight. No, I don't go shopping in my dressing gown and slipper. I think I have driven my car in that. Probably the most outlandish thing I've done shopping is wear my kilt. I have gone shopping in my kilt. Not in this weather. Ooh, freeze the proverbials off in this weather. But in summer, I have gone shopping in my kilt. So, alrighty. Where are we up to? Oh, it's 9:30. Gonna drink some non-alcoholic beverage. Your deputy is now the principal. So here's the thing. In my experience, the principal's like the figurehead. This is what I had growing up. The principal's like a figurehead, and the deputy's like the enforcer. The deputy's the one who's kilt. The deputy's sorry, I got distracted because kilt was in there. Deputy's the enforcer. They're the tough one, and the principal isn't. You're 35, born in 89. Well, I bet you feel old. I did actually make some cocktails tonight, but in the roll up to bed, non-alcohol time. I don't know if you've seen these. I keep an eye out for what Schweppes have these really great, really lightly flavored, no sugar mineral waters. And I keep an eye out for when they're half price because semi-regularly they're half price at the supermarket. And I get a 12-pack. They're a really nice alternative to the sugary or heavily flavored things. This one's passion fruit and pineapple. I got a few different flavors. I really like the lemon lime one. But in terms of a non-alcoholic beverage or even just a mixer, superintendent. You mean what for Superintendent Chalmers? What do we have? I mean, we probably have at the state level people who are responsible for districts, and I don't know what they would be called. Yeah, time just keeps fucking moving, Justin. That's the way of it. Yeah, no, Kathy, keep an eye out for them. These are like Coles and Woolies, and semi-regularly the 12 packs are on half price. And they're just really lightly flavored. And I quite like them. No sugar, mineral water, just a really light fruit flavor. And there's a few different ones. I quite like them. And yeah, it's good because I drink like Pepsi Max all friggin' day, but you don't want to drink that at night because of the caffeine. So I try to stop drinking anything with caffeine comparatively early in the evening. So something with no caffeine. See, Justin, you're only as old as you feel. Also, here's the thing. I'm not bothered by how old I am. Like, I know how old I am. I'm living in my body. I know it. What always gets me is how old other people are. And by that, I mean like celebrities and stuff. Like someone who I grew up with and like, you know, whether they're a musician or an actor or some sort of other public figure where, you know, they rose to prominence in their 20s or 30s or even 40s. And I'm like, that's how they are in my head. And then you suddenly see them and they're in their 60s and you're like, oh, fuck. That actually makes me feel older than my own age, how old other people are. If I was going to say, if that makes sense, I'm not sure it does. But I feel way older when I see how old other people are rather than acknowledging my own age because I fucking know my own age. But yeah, someone who, you know, was in the Brat Pack. They were the young, daring do go-getters, and now they're 60. Like, friggin', how old is Robert Downey Jr. now? Just as a random example. Robert Downey Jr. 59, born in 65. So next April, he's 60. And even as Tony Stark, I rank him as 40-something, which I think he was. When he started the Iron Man movies, he was 40-something. So it's like, but I grew up with Downey in the Brat Pack, like in his 20s. But even as Iron Man, like as an adult, he's in his 40s. But now, you know, dude's pushing 60. And okay. That's a bit for me to wrap my head around. Kath, you're on board with me? Yeah. We're not old. Other people are old. Too much bottom spanking. Oh, initiation things in private schools. They're weird. Well, actually, Justin, there's some funny stuff with anti-aging stuff. You get weird, rich tech bros who don't want to die, who are desperate to find anti-aging stuff and maybe have their brain uploaded to a computer. It's basically bordering on. Are we old too? I guess we are. Actually, and that's the thing. I embrace it. It doesn't bother me. Oh, Downey Jr. is a couple years older than me. Just a couple. No, actually, fucking one. I think he's like 1 year older than me. Jeez, I'm going to a couple years old. I think he's like 1 year because his birthday is in April, as is mine. I think he's like 1 year older than me. Oh, what if I keep doing this shit into my 60s? How is that going to be weird? I swear to God, I'm going to change all my internet handles to grandpa. I'm going to change from Angry Aussie to Angry Aussie Grandpa, and the Angry Cocktails channel. I'm going to change that into Cocktail Grandpa. I'm going to be old man on the internet. I'm just going to fucking go for it, quite honestly. Hell yeah, Kath. We earned it. Damn friggin' straight. We earned it. Embrace it. Live it. Love it. I'm all for it. It's just kind of like, I know not everyone feels this way, but it's just like, people say, oh, what's best, your 20s or 30s? And go, I love my 20s. I love my 20s. I love my 30s. I love my 40s. I love my 50s. It's just like, I tend to live in the now. And I know not everyone does. Like when I've traveled overseas, and some of the trips have been long, like I've been overseas for a month or something, I don't get homesick because when I'm traveling, all I feel like is this is where I am now. This is just where I am. I'm here now. Later, I'll be somewhere else. And also, when I've been traveling, I don't feel disjointed. Like it's just like, oh no, I'm not suffering from jet lag. I'm not suffering from cultural shock. I'm just in this place. This is the place where I am now. And next week I'll be in another place. And I know not everyone feels that way, but that's how I feel. I think I'm verging on the point. I agree, Kath, where it's not going to take much to put me to sleep. I think you're absolutely right. Oh, Justin, you don't have to go to friggin' North Korea. You've got tech bros in Silicon Valley who are paying 20-year-olds to give them blood transfusions. That's a thing that fucking happens in America. You don't have to be going to friggin' North Korea for that. Oh, it's actually really good. So yeah, one of my semi-regular unpaid ads, throwing it out there. These, which I think are relatively new, and get them when they're half price in the supermarket. They're really tasty. A few different flavors. I like them, and I don't think I would have liked this sort of drink like even 10 years ago. In some ways, my palate's got a bit more subtle, but that's good. Oh, I've done another concoction. I'm going to show. I was mentioning the native fruit that grows in a tree in my yard in the local park, lily pilly or riberry. You can't. I don't think you can see them. Oh, maybe you can. This is so I chopped up the fruit, covered them in sugar, and made a syrup. But then you've got this sort of sugar-soaked fruit, and I thought, what can I do with it? I want to put it in something. So I got the liqueurs I made. This is a blend of rum and whiskey and a brown sugar syrup turned into a liqueur. Kath, you going good night? I'm going to go good night in a little while. Thanks for dropping in. I really enjoy when you drop in. So look after yourself. See you another time. Justin, you don't think there's science behind the 20-year-old blood? I tend to agree with you. They're just fucking weirdos. But anyway, so I was thinking, what will I do with this sugar-soaked lily pilly? I want to put them in some sort of alcohol and flavor them. And I thought, well, it'd be a fun thing. So I combined the liqueur I'd already made, and I put the sugar-soaked lily pilly in there. I thought, I'm going to leave this for a week or so. Tip it upside down a few times. So it'll be a bit fruitier and a bit sweeter. And I've got a teeny bit of one of the liqueurs left. So I was going to drink this now, but I think I should save that. And in about a week, I should do a comparison taste between that with the lily pilly and this that didn't. And see what's like. Speaking of taste tests, well, lily pilly is a flowering tree. And I think you might be also getting confused with a lily. Lily pilly with an I in both cases rather than a Y is a native Australian. USA, California. Yo, America. Fuck yeah. Coming to save the motherfucking day now. The billionaires are all weirdos. I think we can maybe agree on that. And they are freaked out at the idea they're just going to die and rot in the earth. I can live with being fertilizer, honestly. Oh, random fact, but honestly, you're talking about the De Niro. It's not my favorite. It's a goddamn good movie, though. The Scorsese film Casino, really good movie. Geez, we haven't done any movie talk tonight. So thank you, random stranger, for coming in on... Oh, you're on Twitch. Also, I always feel the need to tell people when they come in on Twitch, although this is a relatively quiet night, but we are having good chats. Most people watch me on YouTube. I use a service called StreamYard that lets me restream to multiple platforms. So some people watch me on Twitch, and occasionally some people watch me on Facebook as well. Oh yeah, I think Twitch is kind of popular with Americans. I don't know. It's almost like, why do I even restream to Twitch? Maybe I should stream natively to Twitch, do some gaming stuff. I would just do Red Dead. Maybe I join one of those modded roleplay servers, because I've been watching other people doing it. And I was thinking, man, I would have a lot of fun doing this roleplay stuff. But literally the only thing holding me back is I think I'd enjoy it too much and it would take over my life. I just love the idea of like role playing with other people in Red Dead world. I have the character in mind. You say, I actually don't mind the Crocodile Dundee movies. I think they're pretty funny. And like, good on Paul Hogan. So, you know, Paul Hogan was on Australian TV since the 1970s, doing comedy and whatnot. So the Crocodile Dundee was like a renaissance for him. It was bringing him back to the public eye after he'd been out of the public eye for a while. But I reckon the Crocodile Dundee, particularly the first one, I think is pretty good. And I'll always love it because that's not a knife. This is a knife. But what I love is the Simpsons one with the guy going, that's not a knife. This is a knife. And Marge goes, that's a spoon. He goes, oh, see, you've played knifey spoony. Australians are always up for a bit of knifey spoony, basically. Uh, yeah, well, you're young, Safa. I'm old. I remember Paul Hogan from his comedy shows on Australian TV in the 1970s. And in fact, as someone pointed out, the way I do my videos, like the Angry Aussie videos, I always opened with um, G'day viewers, and the cocktail ones open with G'day cocktail lovers. But that was unconscious. Someone pointed out, oh, yeah, G'day viewers. That's what Paul Hogan used to say. Kylie Minogue, she's done some good stuff, honestly. It's very funny. Like, again, growing up in Australia, she started off in soap operas in the 90s, late 80s, early 90s, with just the frizzy permed hair that was a thing at the time. But she does some good stuff. She's pretty cool. Oh my god, the Aussie Simpsons episode, so meme worthy. And Australians just embraced it. Knifey spoony. But particularly the Prime Minister on the inner tube in a dam, holding up a beer. What my particular love is when people reframe it when someone's being a jerk. Just that thing of the Prime Minister in the inner tube holding up a beer, but captioning it, have a sook, cunt. Yeah, the Mad Max movies are Australian. Mad Max 1, extremely Australian. Mad Max 2's also, actually, they're all extremely Australian. Fury Road was also meant to be shot in Australia, but it rained in the desert. So it ended up being shot on the African coast. I forget which country. Furiosa was shot in Australia. So Fury Road remains the only one that's not shot in Australia. Hello, Dr. Abigail. Nice of you to return. Oh, did she? Okay, I didn't know that. She did a neighbour's farewell. Oh, I've got a really great. I don't do 4K. I don't think. I could go and get it. I've got the black and chrome Mad Max. It's got all the Mad Max movies and featurettes and whatnot, and the black and chrome version of Fury Road. Fucking kick ass. Mrs. Angry got it for me for Christmas a couple of years ago. Kick ass. Not sure if it's 4K. It is a Blu-ray, but it's pretty fucking good. And it's weird because the colors in Fury Road are so good. So you go like high contrast black and white version sounds like a dumb idea, but it looks friggin' cool. Mofo said, rain in Australia. Well, rain in the desert. The deserts completely change when it rains in them. Justin, God, I don't think The Simpsons has been good for more than 20 years. And I heard all these people saying the last, I don't know, couple of seasons had gotten better. And so I watched one, including Strictly Sega recommended a specific episode. And I was like, doesn't work for me. I get like recent Simpsons stuff, I get like one laugh in an episode. And in the episode that Strictly Sega recommended to me, my one laugh was a pop culture reference, referencing the old movie The Untouchables, 90s movie, I think that is. But yeah, I watched, I think, 3 episodes of The Simpsons spread across the last 2 seasons, including the one specifically recommended by Strictly Sega. Just didn't work for me. Not at all. Ugh. You know, I'll tell you something about Clear Ice. Apart from looking cool, melts much more slowly than regular ice. I'm gonna be a bit cheeky. Put a bit more in the thing. Hey, Daniel, you agreeing? Yeah, I think Once you get past about season 12 to 14, it's a bit fucking desperate. But hey, Jesus Christ. They keep making money. It's like some of the most expensive advertising on American TV is on The Simpsons still. Yeah, I have to admit, the ones I've watched, it's not. I get what you're saying about them doing a build up. It's not the end that's made me laugh. It's been at a particular point they've had a joke that's made me laugh. But yeah, I mean it. Like, I watch these episodes and I don't hate them. They're not terrible. But I get maybe one laugh in an entire episode. And that's not a good average, really. Oh man, that's really fucking yummy. My barrel-aged Vieux Carré cocktail. Oh man, that is super fucking good, honestly. Picked up a little bit of oaky smokiness from the barrel, and it's just awesome. Yeah, I agree, Justin. Current Simpsons is a completely different style to classic Simpsons. Classic Symptoms. Jesus, I didn't think I was that drunk, but I keep using the wrong word. Yeah, and I greatly appreciate, even if you just drop in for a few minutes every now and then, Danielle. I appreciate you, because it's just chills and hangouts. It's really funny when some weird random hater wants to make a big scene, like, what did you like? Dude, I'm just fucking hanging out, okay? You're some weird random loser who's obsessing over me, and I'm just fucking chilling out. You should do it. You should try it. Just fucking relax, for God's sake. And it is always funny when some weird right-wing dickhead was going, and it'll be like one of my older videos, because I haven't really done pre-recorded videos for 3 or 4 years. And they go like, no one's watching your and I go, well, you say that, but you're here obsessing over me, you fucking weirdo. I don't know who you are. I'm gonna forget who you are the minute after I block you. And it's just like, God damn. It's just a whole thing. These sad little freaks who want to obsess over you, and they kind of want you to respond on their terms. And I'm like, no, that's it. Yeah, honestly, Safa, I think a lot of it's sexual. I think there's a real sexual thing with these right wingers. Oh, we were having this discussion about Dutton and Nukes earlier. It's very weird. How many of them were blocked? I don't know, hundreds, thousands. I've been on YouTube for 18 years, so who the fuck knows? Just a ridiculous number of them. So Daniel, those people, yeah, that's a fair point. Anyone who's commenting now, there's an extremely high chance they don't know the history. You're right. She posted a trailer on Discord. They give people a mission and one's supposed to snitch. What they don't know is everyone's a snitch. Oh god, that sounds like the Paranoia role-playing game. Oh no, Dutton's proposal is complete horseshit. Like, yes, in the abstract, you can argue that nuclear energy is like zero carbon emissions, but in Australia specifically, even ignoring the cultural and ideological objections to it, just purely monetary things, it would take 30 years or more to bring them up to speed and cost just so much more than renewables. It's ridiculous. It doesn't stack up. So, Justin, when you say anything about people snitches, there's a role-playing game from, I think that was first published in the 80s, a sci-fi role-playing game called Paranoia. And all the people are living in an underground city run by a computer. post oops, like there was a global thermonuclear war sometime in the past, and the survivors are all underground in this underground city run by a computer that is, spoiler alert, insane. And you get put together with a group and sent on a mission. And the missions are always deadly, but that's okay because you have clones. Every time you get killed, the computer sends the next clone to take your place. But in this thing, it's there are two things that are punishable by death. One is being in a secret society, and the other is being a mutant. And the thing is, all the player characters are in a secret society, and all the player characters are mutants. But they in context of the role play, they don't know that the other players are in a secret society of mutants. They think they're the only one. So, and also your mutant power might be really useful, but if you use it in front of anyone else, they'll have you executed. But sometimes you maybe want to use either your secret society connections or your mutant power to save your life or make the mission work, but the other people might betray you to the computer. And I also, I have to admit, when I was running sessions of Paranoia, being the game master with people, like you like, you shoot the gun like something. There's a bad thing, shoot it, and people roll the dice, and it's like one is critical fail, and so I would always do stuff like when someone rolled really badly when they were trying to shoot at something, I would just tell the other players, okay, well, that person there just pulled their gun and shot a computer terminal, a physical representation of the all-powerful computer, and you swear they said something like death to the computer. And so all the other player characters basically have a choice. They either kill that person for being a traitor, or they'll be branded a traitor and they'll be killed. It was so much fun. It was a ridiculous game. Dr. Abigail knows what I'm talking about. And in a sort of the proto game, one of my favorite things, one of the characters gets given something by their secret society. This might be useful. It's a thermonuclear hand grenade, and it's like a hand grenade that's a mini nuke and has a blast radius of like 500 meters. So in other words, you can't throw something 500 meters. So it's kind of useless because you got a mini nuke hand grenade, but if you pull the pin, 99% likely you're going to be killed in the blast. So it's a funny thing to give someone, like, that sounds really cool. You've got a nuclear hand grenade, but it's all but impossible for you to use it without being killed in the thing. And in fact, in one of the sessions I ran, when the people hadn't even left the city, we'd been playing for like 4 or 5 hours, and everyone was having fun. But you were meant to leave the city and go on a mission. But after 4 or 5 hours, people still hadn't left the city, and everyone's getting a bit tired. And people were kind of saying, "Oh, I think maybe you're not going to find." But then things were getting really chaotic, and there's a whole thing with people doing bad rolls. So me saying they shot a computer terminal, and they're turning on each other, and then the person who had the nuclear hand grenade just went, when I'm saying to everyone, what do you do? And this person, and no one else knows they've got a nuclear hand grenade. And they just go, I pull the pin on my hand grenade. And everyone else goes, what does that mean? And I just went, the last thing you see is a blinding white flash before you are vaporized. And yeah, that's the only way the nuclear hand grenade could potentially be useful, if you were on a cliff or a really high thing and there was someone you wanted to get who was below you. That's the only scenario where the nuclear hand grenade would be useful. But I fucking loved it that the game was getting really chaotic and everyone was tired and wanted to finish, and there's a fight going on. And the person with the nuclear hand grenade just goes, I pull the pin on my hand grenade. And it's like, yep, that's a suitable end to the game. You clowns never left the city. The whole mission was outside the city, and you managed to spend like 5 or 6 hours doing chaotic shit and never leaving the city. And it finished with someone detonating a nuclear hand grenade. So, that's just the way it goes sometimes. Having said that, I'd probably really enjoy doing a session of paranoia at some point. Because theoretically, you could do extremely long running campaigns in paranoia. People could like raise their levels in the society. But I genuinely feel like minimum 9 out of 10 paranoia sessions result in people never evolving past the most basic level because they just do chaotic shit and die. They have fun in the meantime. A nuke's not tactically helpful. Well, not on a battlefield. They're about destroying cities. Although there was the whole thing of the US supposedly developing, again, tactical nukes, things that were meant to have limited but extreme explosive power and they were meant to hit underground bunkers or something. But they also have a conventional weapon, which Trump was the first president to authorize the use of, the Massive Ordnance Airburst, MOAB. He authorized its use in Afghanistan, and it took out half a mountain. And I swear to God, I know what the whole conversation was. Someone in the Pentagon who'd always wanted to deploy this weapon just telling Trump, you'd be the first person to authorize its use. And this mountain is definitely full of Taliban. So when we destroy a fucking mountain, we are definitely killing the Taliban. And you'd be the first president who is badass enough to actually authorize the use of this most powerful non-nuclear bomb. And so he did. He authorized the use of it. I think everyone kind of forgets that, but I feel like I know exactly. I don't think Bush Jr. used it, but we're on the internet. Let's look it up. Has MOAB ever been used? So it was developed for the Iraq War. So it was developed for Bush Jr. Never used until now. Yeah, so they did do it and they dropped it in Afghanistan, and that was in 2017. Yeah, exactly as I thought. Trump was the first person to authorize the use of the MOAB. It was actually developed for Bush Jr., but never used. But Trump actually authorized its use. They took out, as I said, half a mountain in Afghanistan. It's a funny old world, isn't it? But yeah, there you go. Yeah, Bush Jr. didn't use the MOAB. He just used thousands of tons of conventional explosives on civilian targets. Is that a joke or is that a real thing, Mofo? Russians called one of theirs father of all bombs. A peony measuring contest, yeah. And I'm sure the Russians have the capability to develop a bomb of that same destructive power. They have a pretty full-on military. I don't say this is a complimentary thing, that they have the capacity to make something that destructive. I think that's quite a negative thing. Yeah, this is the thing, Justin. I feel like I can imagine the exact conversation. Someone in the Pentagon who always wanted to use the Moab, and I thought, yeah, Trump's a fucking idiot. I'll just appeal to his ego and his sense of being a big tough guy, and he'll authorize its use. And yes, those are thermobaric bombs. It's basically they set the air on fire when they detonate. They are truly terrifying. It's fucked up. It's fucked up how extreme non-nuclear or conventional weaponry can be. Humans are just bizarrely good at being destructive. Don't know what it is about us that makes us so destructive, but we are. I am thinking. Or actually, while I think of it, not that, but this. Wonder if this has already got any difference in flavor, this thing I made today. Just going to have a little taste of that. I was intending to leave this for a week or so, but we'll see. Someone was able to write a book about crazy stuff. I imagine you could get all sorts of whacked out shit by appealing to Trump's ego. Watching movie Idiocracy. I know that feeling. I know exactly what you're saying. I feel like rewatching Idiocracy. I think I've got it on disc. I'll probably get it on one of the streaming services, but I think I've got it on disc. I don't really go for it's the prophecy. It's funny. I think Idiocracy is funny. Oh, no. Fucking hippies are the fucking boomers. Gen X spits on the fucking hippies. And yes, the hippies all did a whole bunch of disarmament stuff, which I'm on board with. Hippies were the 60s, like before I was fucking born. Oh, man. Wow, that is tasting good. Ooh, I think that's going to be really good. I've got to keep tasting it. The liqueur with lily pilly in it. I think it's going to be fucking good. All right, leave that little bit in there. Because it's 10 o'clock or it's a little bit... Oh, no. The cherries fell off the skewer. God damn it. I have where is it? See? 1.5 cherries that I skewered. Oh my god, those cherries are so fucking yummy. Well, see, Homer is no fixed age. Homer was... When The Simpsons started, Homer was 20 years older than me. Now Homer's 10 years younger than me. Because he stays the same age. And it's why I find particularly funny when they do flashback episodes. It's a different decade every time. Like, in one thing, Homer was raised on a hippie commune. But in another thing, he's like finished high school in the 90s. I just find that element of The Simpsons I find really funny, that the flashbacks for Homer are in totally different decades. Okay, that's Mrs. Angry saying she's going to bed, so I'm going to bed too. Oh man, those cherries are so fucking good. But yeah, probably party night tomorrow night. We'll see how long I last tomorrow night. Be a whole thing. Who knows? Who the hoot and heck knows? But thank you all for hanging out tonight. And I throw a thank you to everyone who had been here who's not now. I'll send that thank you out into the ether. And maybe they're lying in bed somewhere. Oh, I feel a thank you. Maybe not. I'm going to bed anyway. See you fine and funky folk tomorrow night if you're up for party night. We'll see how long I last. But I'm going to go